Hi, I'm Kara for SugarPea Designs. We're making a one-layer Z-fold card today for these two little girls. So to start, I'm using Tin Can Chat, and I have an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of thicker cardstock. This is a heavyweight cardstock, which I folded in half, scored in half, and then the front panel is scored in half again. It's creased well, and now we have a Z-fold. So I'm using archival jet black ink, and I'm stamping these two girls right on that Z-fold and the fence as well. And I really need to make sure that on that fold it stamps well. But then I opened it up and re-stamped that fence, and I'm going to do the same for this little girl, but I wasn't sure if I had that directly over her fence, so I used a piece of acetate, stamped first, and then slipped around my paper so that it matched right, and there we go. It's all stamped. Stamping the sentiment, I'm just a phone call away, and it's time to start filling in the middle. So these two girls are on their tin cans, and I need to extend the wire for them. And I'm giving each of them their own land because they're really divided by an ocean. So put together, it looks like they're very close. And then here I'm just drawing out how I want the ocean in the middle to look. And I come back in with a Prismacolor black pen just to outline all that. I'm using Derwent Inktense Pencils, and I already came through once with the pencils, and now I'm showing you the details. So in her hair I put some extra lines, and now I'm taking a number 2 round brush with just a little water and kind of blending that in. Once the Inktense pencil is dry, it won't react or reactivate. So you can layer things once they're dry. Now I'm showing you on her dress. I'm putting a little more depth into those folds and her shadows by coming back in with that's the fuchsia, and her hair color was bark, but this is fuchsia, and this is a little bit of Shiraz, and it's a warmer pink color. And blending those two together helps. As I pull it out, they are going to blend with each other. This is a normal type of cardstock. It's not watercolor paper, so I'm really trying not to have too much water on my brush. It's kind of just a damp brush, so it doesn't go very far. It doesn't pull the color more than one stroke of the brush out, so kind of have to be careful, and sometimes I'm using this tip to brush method to get some of that depth in, or those shadows. And here's her little tights, and I think that's crimson pink I used for that. So I just wanted it a little bit different than her dress. And her boots, these boots are a mixture of red, violet, and red oxide. And that red oxide is more of an orangish color. So I just wanted to pull in some more colors. I didn't want her just to be fully pink on here. And then getting into her mouth, that's a neutral gray, and putting some of that fuchsia and Shiraz up in her hairband. Activating that pencil color with the water and pulling it down into her tongue as well. All right, now I'm coming back to her skin, and I find that this is the most challenging area for me, is to get a good skin color. So this is a mixture between tan and carmine pink. So this is the tan coming in, and this is just kind of trying to define those areas without making it look too much like it has pencil lines. So I'm trying to make very small marks so it doesn't look like heavy pencil lines. And you can see now that carmine pink and tan are blending together out into her face. Just working that brush back and forth. Each time the Inktense layers are dry, you can go on with another layer. I really don't do more than 2 layers on these girls. I kind of want to keep that pencil look. It's just an interesting cross between watercolor pencil, and then Inktense pencils. They're just they're a little more intense in color, which I like. I like these bright colors. And just giving her more shadow on her little tights. And we're on to the second girl. And I'll start with, again, this tan color. And I'm going to add in that carmine pink as well. And I'm showing you kind of where I'm putting in those shadows. So I lay the pencil color where I want the shadow to be. Getting her little arms. And then here I'm using the carmine pink and just going right over where I did the tan. So after I finished that up, I have my water brush again, or my number 2 round brush with just a little water, and blending that into the rest of her face. And I'm dividing things into sections because, as I said, on this paper, the color does not flow very well, so I only get a little movement, and so I'm just using a small section at a time. And the other thing I notice is after I let things dry, they tend to look better. So sometimes I just have to leave it alone and come back, and of course I can layer some more, so that's good. All right, so for her hair, that is, let's see what color, that was willow. And I'm just kind of giving a base coat there, and I'll come back. And here's a little crimson for her tongue. And I'll wait for that to dry before going in with the neutral gray for the rest of her mouth. So I'm starting on her tunic, and this is in violet. And then I come in with a little lagoon as well. And then it's time for the damp brush. It's kind of fun to watch it react with the water to see how strong the color will be. And I like the combination of the violet and lagoon together. Kind of gives a royal blue color. And I'll come back and do another layer on that when it's dry. This is crimson for her little skirt. Lagoon then for her leggings. And violet for her shoes. I won't show you all of the coloring with the pencil because it's all very similar. Here's the tin can in a neutral gray. But I will show you how I recolor her hair. Now that it's dry, I am coming in with madder brown, and I'm putting in some lines because I do want those to kind of show up once I blend that out. You can see I can still see a little of the lines there. So it still has kind of the pencil look to it. And then I'll move on to the cuffs on her sleeves, and that's crimson red as well. And came back and brightened her skirt a little, and I put in that neutral gray in her mouth and blended that out. So I'm coming back in with some more of the violet and the lagoon, and I'll blend that out. And I'll play with this for a little bit here. And this is the violet. It wasn't very wet on the edge, so I was able to get it in. If you use the Inktense over a wet area, it will come out looking wet. I mean, that bright color. So putting in her red hairbands, and onto the fence, I am just using red oxide on the fence here, and I will come back with that matte brown later once they're dry. And for the grass, I wanted to use beach green and felt green, and I'm just putting little blades of grass around, kind of keeping with the cartoon look of the characters. And these two colors blend well nicely, and you see some of those blades of grass even after blending in with the brush. And I'm using a number 4 round brush now because I have a larger area to work with. Here I am coming in with that madder brown, and I'm putting in lines like wood grain. And even after I come in with a brush, you can still see the lines. Kind of gives that wood grain look. And this is dark aquamarine for the ocean or river or whatever. I mean, obviously, I can't put a whole ocean on a card, so it's just symbolic. And I blend that out. And then once that grass was dry, I came in to shade around the areas closest to the shore to give it some look of kind of like a hill, or depth to it anyway. And I can also come in with some more of the pencil and put some grass around the fence so that it kind of looks a little more normal. And then I wanted to blend this better on the water, so I'm going right from tip to brush with that number 4 round brush, and just working it through, darker in the front and then lighter as we go up towards the horizon. And I like the depth of this blue a lot more now that I had that technique. All right, so there is a sunrise and a sunset depending on which continent our girls are on. So one's in the sunrise and one is in the sunset. And so this is tangerine and cadmium yellow. I'm just putting yellow down by the girls and then pulling that up with the brush. This is again the number 4 brush. And then I'll be pulling up the color in the middle as well. And I put down both the orange and yellow together, but I'm trying to just pull up the yellow first because I want it to look like the yellow on the 2 sides of the card. And then I'm pulling up the orange into that yellow area. But again, I didn't like how the brush strokes were looking, so I'm doing the tip to brush technique and just blending that out better. And I get a nice vibrant orange sunset or sunrise sky that way. And I had to let this dry for a while because you can kind of see it's just warping a little. Once I got it dry, I looked at it and realized I had made that mark too close or too far out, so I just cut off 1/8 an inch of the bottom of the card. And now that my sunset or rise is dry, I can come in and put in a bit of the yellow and orange down into the water And I'm also coming in with that yellow and blending a little more up top so it's a bit brighter. And there we go. I let it dry, and there they are. They're together but apart. So I hope you enjoyed the card today. And if you did, if you would like this video and also subscribe to our channel. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.